everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets and welcome to another card making video. This card is made from the MFT Weekly Sketch Challenge number 471, as well as the current MFT Color Challenge. The four colors in that color challenge are Grout Gray, Tickled Pink, Gravel Gray, and Electric Red. Now the only color of those four that I don't have in my stash is the Electric Red, so I picked the color that most closely represents that, and that is MFT's Hybrid Ink in Chili Powder. Next thing that I did was I went through my cardstock, my scrap bin, and found this very light color of gray cardstock that was very similar to the Grout Gray. I also went through and found colors that were similar to the Tickled Pink and the Electric Red. I was just showing you the hearts that I cut out from one of the die sets there. Now, the last color that I had to use was the Gravel Grey, and I wanted to use the ink color that I had, so I picked out Concord 9th's XOXO Turnabout stamp set, and I wanted it to have almost a tone-on-tone look with the piece of cardstock that I chose. Then I picked out the Love You to Pieces Concord 9th die set to use with the colors of red and pink cardstock that I used. So now don't follow what I just did when folding the card base. It was an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock, and instead of scoring it before I folded it, I just folded it and used my finger. However, the paper kind of cracked on the crease, so I flipped it inside out and then burnished it again, and it was fine then, but you should always score your cardstock to make it easier and keep it from cracking. So now I'm going to get ready to work on the background on that piece of very light gray cardstock. I'm taking the Concord 9th XOXO Turnabout stamp set and using my MISTI to create almost a tone-on-tone background. If you guys don't know about the Turnabout stamp sets, it's one of the most innovative products that I've ever seen from a stamp company, and Concord 9th is amazing with them. So normally, if you're going to use the Turnabout stamp set the correct way, I'm just doing a background with this one, but I do have videos on how to use it properly. You can get 4 different colors in one background, and it's such an impressive looking background because things don't overlap each other when you line them up correctly. But right now, I'm just going to do that background. If you see the piece that's in the corner, that little plastic piece that has the magnets in it, those are the MISTI Creative corners. So the nice thing about this is if you have a stamp like this, if I had put the paper in the corner, it wouldn't have stamped all the way to the edges, and it wouldn't have looked like I just cut down a piece of pattern paper, which is the look that I was going for. So if you put the creative corner in there, your stamp will be able to get all over the background. So I did that, so if I messed up the first time, I could line the cardstock back up perfectly and it would stamp perfectly the second time. So there you go, because my paper moved, I put the creative corner back in there and relined the piece of paper up. Now this is the first time that I've used the Turnabout stamp set, so I wanted to make sure that it was pressed down properly, and then I ran my fingers over it to kind of season the stamp a little bit. During production, sometimes there's a film on any of the photopolymer stamp sets, and there's nothing wrong with the stamp set, but if you're not getting a good stamp impression, that's what you should do, is rub your finger over it or take an eraser and rub it over that just to get that film off of it. But I inked it up and it mostly stamped good. There was just a couple places that maybe I didn't put enough pressure because it is a larger stamp. So I inked it up again, and since it was in the exact same spot, I'm not going to get double stamping or anything like that and like halo effects. So it stamped perfectly. I just had one little X that I wanted to have a little bit more ink on, so I pressed it down again. And then that's it for the MISTI. We're done with that. And I'm going to show you how it looks on the card base right now. I used the Love You to Pieces die set and cut them out of pink and red cardstock. I wasn't sure how I was going to do the outline word because it's the word love. And I was going to cut it out of black initially. Now when you do a color challenge, you're allowed to use colors that are considered neutral colors, which are black, white, and some people consider craft cardstock a neutral color. I do, so you can use that. I wanted to be true to the color challenge and only use the colors that were given in that sketch. Now I could have done a gray background or card base, but I chose to use white. So I guess I didn't truly do just the 4 colors. I did do some white in there, so I lied. But I had taken the ATG gun, put tape on the back of my card base or my card front, and then taped it down to the front of it. Now I'm taking my Zig 2A glue pen and the outline in the light pink, which is the tickled pink representation, and putting it onto the front of the card. I'm terrible with glue. I always get it all over me, all over the front of the die cut. So if anybody has the Xyron sticker maker, this would be a perfect project to use it on, because the die cut inlay, you have to kind of piece these back together like a puzzle. And you'll see in a minute how these lay in there, and they're very simple. They lay back together. Like I said, it fits in like a puzzle. It's very easy to do. But with this, you have to make sure that you get glue on the back of the whole entire surface, especially the larger pieces, so that they all stick down. When I put the outer ring of the O on, you'll notice that I didn't get glue on the upper left-hand corner, and it sticks up. So if you have a Xyron sticker maker, this is the perfect kind of project to use it on. But again, I don't have one. I never bought it, so I just made do with my Zig 2A glue pen. So I pulled out the sketch again just to see where the hearts were, and the one heart kind of hangs off of the side. So in the sketch, it actually kind of goes off of the inside piece. So I decided to let the red heart hang off the side. And since I cut it out of red and pink cardstock, my original idea was to cut the outline out of black and then use that, but I thought that might be a little bit too harsh, so I decided to go with the pink outline with the red cardstock fills, and I love the way it turned out. I was very, very happy with it. Now, the issue with using the Zig 2A glue pen, again, for me, it's probably just me, it's probably user error, but I get ink all over myself and then all over my hands, and then pieces stick to me. You'll see that I used my sleeve at some point to put to hold the images down. I also used the Misty Creative corners right there to the magnet in them, because it's a little bit heavy, so it has some weight on it to hold some of the pieces down into place. And then the very tiny pieces, I would suggest having like a jewel picker or tweezers or something like that to help you with those pieces. I have those long nails, and it was very hard to get some of those pieces popped into place because they were so tiny, especially these 3 little pieces that I have left. This one here was such a sliver of a piece, and I had glue all over my hands. So it was a little bit difficult. So this is, things, like I said, it does fit back together like a puzzle, but just be cautious. If you have glue on your hands, those pieces will stick to you, and it's probably best to have a jewel picker or tweezers or something like that you can just slide the pieces back into place and keep the glue off of your hands and your hands away from the pieces, because as you'll see in a minute, I actually got glue on the outline. So now I'm just referring back to the sketch again to see where the other 2 hearts were. And if I had to do this over again, I think I would have changed up the colors of the hearts. I probably would have done the large heart in pink, and then that top heart in red, and then the one that's to the other side, I would have done that in pink too. Well, that one's in pink. I was just trying to decide the placement on that. So I would have kept that last heart pink, and then I would have switched the other 2 colors. But there is a lot of red on it, so I wanted to make 2 of the hearts pink, but I just shouldn't have put them like on next to each other. They should have been across from each other. So there's the card. And before I go, I was trying to scratch off the glue. So I took out my mono sand eraser, which is fantastic for removing glue and ink that's on the surfaces. I was just rubbing over top of it, and all of the glue came off because it does leave a little bit of like a black residue on top, and with the light pink, you can definitely see it. So that's the final card for the day. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have comments or questions, please feel free to leave them below, and I will see you again soon in the next video. Bye!